Umagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, but with the torchlight of knowledge, my spiritual master has opened my eyes. Therefore I am paying him my humble, respectful obeisances. Hare Krishna. Good morning, everybody. We are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi-Lila, chapter 8, text 22. The chapter has the title, The Author Receives Order of Guru and Krishna. Author meaning, who is the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Anybody knows? Yeah. Yes. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Yes. So we are at text 22. Adyapiha Dika Chaitanya Nama Yelaya Adyapiha Dika Chaitanya Nama Yelaya Krishna Preme Pula Kashu Vihwala Sehaya Krishna Preme Pula Kashru Vihwala Sehaya Adyapiha Dika Chaitanya Nama Yelaya Krishna Preme Pula Kashru Vihwala Sehaya Adyapiha Dika Chaitanya Nama Yelaya Krishna Preme Pula Kashru Vihwala Sehaya. Prabhus? Somebody? Adyapiha Dika Chaitanya Nama Yelaya Krishna Preme Pula Kashru Vihwala Sehaya Adyapiha Dika Chaitanya Nama Yelaya Krishna Preme Pula Kashru Vihwala Sehaya Adyapiha Dika Chaitanya Nama Yelaya Krishna Preme Pula Kashru Vihwala Sehaya Adyapiha Dika Chaitanya Nama Yelaya Krishna Preme Pula Kashru Vihwala Sehaya Adyapiha, even up to date. Dekha, you see. Chaitanya Nam, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name. Yea, anyone. Laya, who takes. Krishna preme, in love of Krishna. Pulaka ashru, tears in ecstasy. Vihvala, overwhelmed. Se, he. Haya, becomes. Translation. Whether he is offensive or inoffensive, anyone who even now chants Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda is immediately overwhelmed with ecstasy, and tears fill his eyes. Did we notice something of that? We were chanting Chaitanya's name. Something is there, no? You get very much elevated. You chant Gauranga or what did we chant? Yeah, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, no? Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta. There's some change in the heart happens if you chant that. Okay, purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Prakrita Sahajiyas who chant Nitya Gaura Radheshyam have very little knowledge of the Bhagavad conclusion, and they hardly follow the Vaishnava rules and regulations. And yet, because they chant Bhaja Nitya Gaur, their chanting immediately invokes tears and other signs of ecstasy. Although they do not know the principles of Vaishnava philosophy and are not very advanced in education, by these symptoms they attract many men to become their followers. Their ecstatic tears will of course help them in the long run, for as soon as they come in contact with a pure devotee, their lives will become successful. Even in the beginning, however, because they are chanting the holy names of Nitya Gaur, their swift advancement on the path of love of Godhead is very prominently visible. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, text again. Adhyapiha Deka Chaitanya Nama Yelaya. This one I do myself, usually. Thank you very much for following so nicely. Krishna Preme Pula Kashru Vihvala Sehaya. Whether he is offensive or inoffensive, anyone who even now chants Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, or the name of or Chaitanya Nam, it's said in the text. Whoever even now chants Chaitanya Nam is immediately overwhelmed with ecstasy, and tears fill his eyes. So here, the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is establishing, philosophical point on the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the text before, he told that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, is fully independent. Therefore, although it is the most confidentially stored benediction, he can distribute love of Godhead to anyone and everyone without consideration. So this would be an answer to the question, how can anyone, love of Godhead is the topmost gain which you can get in your existence, which we can get in our existence. It's topmost goal. It must be very, very carefully kept and confidential. So this could be the answer to it. Yes, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he's fully independent. So he can do what he likes. And although it is most confidentially stored benediction, he can distribute this highest gift which is possible in the creation to anyone and everyone without consideration. So this is what he was doing, and is still doing actually. But to understand this, one needs to go a bit deeper into the subject matter, and then even in the one verse, few verses before, the author is recommending to the logicians, if you want to apply your logic, apply it to the mercy to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you will be struck with wonder when you go step by step what he was doing, what is his mercy, how important it is. So now, in the verse today, saying in the verse before that he can distribute it to anyone, this love of Godhead. In the verse today, he's saying this anyone, whether he is offensive or inoffensive, if he even chants, even now chants, even today, meaning when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is already not there physically, but even today, if you chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda or Chaitanya Nam, he is immediately overwhelmed with ecstasy, and tears fill his eyes. This is how powerful just the name of Chaitanya is. And then Srila Prabhupada is explaining, he's taking the example of Prakrita Sahajiyas, who are known as not the most pure, not the most, how to say, not the most stout followers of rules and regulations like the Vaishnavas are following. So they indulge in sense gratification practically, as far as I can tell from Srila Prabhupada's descriptions, and then do not have very much knowledge of the Bhagavad conclusions, of the Vedic conclusions, hardly following Vaishnava rules and regulations, and yet, because they chant Chaitanya Nam, they chant Bhaj Nita Gaura, their chanting immediately invokes tears and other signs of ecstasy in them. Now, this is very interesting. And they do not know the principles of Vaishnava philosophy, and also they are not very much educated. By these symptoms, they attract many men to become their followers. So, and then further on, he's saying, their ecstatic tears, of course, will help them in the long run. And now they are at the beginning and already having ecstatic tears. But this will help them in the long run, for as soon as they come into contact with a pure devotee who will make a transformation in their heart, their life will be successful. So they are already on the path towards perfection, no? Even though not following so nicely the rules and regulations. And even in the beginning, where they are now, however, according to this example, because they are chanting of holy names of Nitya Gaur, their swift advancement on the path of love of Godhead is very visible, by these tears which they are crying, which are apparently not, so to say, no, it is no show. They are actual tears. They are chanting Nitya Gaur names, but this will be the tears. Now this is very interesting, because many times we hear that the Prakrita Sahajiyas are not somebody who are on the good path, are not somebody who are advancing, because they are, according to Vaishnava standards, they have deviations, or serious deviations, like imitating rasa dance, like Krishna was doing with one person, one male with many ladies, many gopis. They are trying to imitate that. So in a material sense, so this is not very, very, how to say, renounced, or very, very advanced, maybe according to Vaishnava principles, but Doesn't matter, even though this is the case, and they are not very advanced in education, not knowing scriptures very well. Still, they are, because of that, they are chanting the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are on a swift path to love of Godhead. Very, very important point. Very important. So, these names of Nitya Gaur are very, very important for us also. And then we can go on a little bit with reading, because this topic few verses connect. I will now read the next Bengali verse, and you do not have it on the board, so I will read it. Nityananda Balitehaya Krishna Premodaya Dulaya Sakala Anga Shrugangavaya. Simply by talking of Nityananda Prabhu, one awakens his love for Krishna. Thus, all his bodily limbs are agitated by ecstasy, and tears flow from his eyes like the waters of the Ganges. Simply by talking of Nityananda Prabhu, which we are also doing now. And well, we are not. I do not see anybody crying yet, but still, one can notice that there is some change in heart when one is speaking about these topics. It's not the same as if one is, I don't know, paying one's bills online or something like that, going shopping or other things which are connected to our material world, our material life. And this is different. Krishna nama kare aparet hera vichara, Krishna bali le aparat hira nahaya vikara. There are offenses to be considered while chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one does not become ecstatic. Now, this is another very interesting point. We have now heard about chanting the names of Chaitanya or of Nityananda. Even if one is offensive, if one makes offenses, doesn't matter. You will still get ecstasy. But with Hare Krishna mantra, there are offenses to be considered. And therefore, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one does not become ecstatic. Now, this is very, very interesting point. And let's see what Srila Prabhupada says to this. It is very beneficial to chant the names Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda before chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because by chanting these two holy names, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, one immediately becomes ecstatic. And if he then chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he becomes free of offenses. No? This is something we learn also, to chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, the Panchatattva Mahamantra, before we start chanting. When I was starting to chant the Mahamantra, I also heard this, but I learned it somehow that I should chant this Panchatattva Mahamantra in front of every round of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But this is not what actually we hear from advanced devotees like Malati Mataji, one of the first disciples of Srila Prabhupada. She is telling that Srila Prabhupada never told us to chant the Panchatattva Mahamantra before every round. She's telling this very clearly. One can see it on YouTube. No? So, and here Srila Prabhupada also here is telling in this sense, before one starts chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Meaning that when you sit down and chant, or somebody is walking and chanting, before you start chanting, you chant the names of Goranitai, and then you chant your rounds, and when you stop chanting, uh, uh, yeah, then one can also chant again the names of Goranitai, but it is not necessary to chant it before every round of Mahamantra. No, this is what we learn from here. So, Srila Prabhupada continues with the 10 offenses to avoid. And this is a bit longer story. So I think we will continue in the next session to go through these offenses, because if one is not managing to avoid these 10 offenses, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra will not unfold its influence. We will not be able to chant Krishna's name, which is the actual essence of the Hare Krishna mantra. We will be chanting the alphabet only, which is not conducive for our progress in spiritual life. It's very, very important point to have in mind. And these 10 offenses, because it's quite a long list with explanations of every offense, I think we will go through of those the next time. So what is to be remembered from this short lecture is that the names of Goranitai, they are even today so powerful that they immediately invoke ecstasy in the chanter. Either he is qualified or not qualified. Either he is or she is offensive or not offensive. Doesn't matter. This works in all cases. But on the other hand, the Hare Krishna mantra has to be chanted without offenses in order to work. Otherwise, it will not work. We will be chanting. Actually, in the next verse, Shri Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami in one of the next verses is saying, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offenses vanquishes all sinful activities. And then, if one manages to chant without offenses, we are completely washed clean. No, nothing is there left. This pure devotional service, meaning chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offenses, is pure devotional service. Thus, pure devotional service, which is the cause of love of Godhead, becomes manifest. Like this. Through chanting without offenses the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, pure devotional service will become manifest. And this pure devotional service is the cause of love of Godhead. No, it's a state of consciousness, devotional service. It is not necessarily the activity, but it is the state of consciousness, bhakti. Then the activity comes out of this consciousness, of course, according to the consciousness. And yeah, I have lost some verse which I wanted to read. So yeah, very important point for our everyday sadhana, for our everyday life. Somebody has some questions, some comments to this? Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for this short lecture, very inspiring. So why then we don't chant 16 rounds of Shri Krishna Chaitanya mantra and then like later when progress comes to turn to Hare Krishna mantra, because we cannot avoid this process in this case. Anyway.
I think it would be a valid experiment to try. One can chant the names of Nityananda, Gauranga, 16 rounds. But I think that if when one is chanting this long enough, one will automatically start crying for Krishna and Radha, which is the Mahamantra name, the Mahamantra mantra. So I think I cannot give a conclusive answer to this question. There is somebody who is more learned can answer this. But it is what I can imagine, that if one will really chant the Panchatattva names for longer time, then I mean, because the whole appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is crying for Krishna. No? So if you chant his name, you connect with him by that, and by connecting with him, you will also cry for Krishna, which is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And but here we also learn that one becomes ecstatic by chanting the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it doesn't say that we get the devotional service for the Lord by this chanting these names. Instead, we have tears of ecstasy in the eyes, but it is not specifically mentioned that we get the devotional service to Radha and Krishna by chanting these names. But this is specifically mentioned with Mahamantra, that this Mahamantra gives you devotional service if chanted without offenses. So we can understand that, because Mahamantra, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. So nice that when we are just talking about this, Radha and Krishna appear and give us their darshan. Oh, what they are talking about? Gaura and Itai also, are they talking about us? So, because the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is non-different from Radha and Krishna. This is them in its original form, in its actual form. You have two levels of Mahamantra. One is the alphabet level, which we see on the written, and which many of us are chanting when we are chanting the alphabet, because offenses are there. And then is the second level of Mahamantra, which is the actual name, which is the inherent potency of Mahamantra being administered by alphabet. No? So this actual second level of the Mahamantra, the actual name, this is Radha and Krishna. And goal of life being associating with the Lord. We are doing that by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are associating with them as we are chanting, because they are there in sound form. No? And this can be actually felt in kirtans, that we get very unprecedented sensations inside, which you don't usually get when you are outside of this process, when you are doing things other than chanting the names of the Lord. And this is being described as being a goal of life, to associate with the Lord, to develop devotional service for their lordships. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they come to help us to come to this point. So, going from here means that by chanting the names of Chaitanya and Nityananda, meaning would just help us to come to the actual goal of life, which is love of Godhead. But if one, I think it's a very nice experiment. One can try to chant the Gauranga's name and see what happens. Because it is just the same direction, just maybe a little detour. Does it help you? Okay, Hare Krishna.
You know the answer of Srila Prabhupada to the same question.
Oh, please.
He said that we are not chanting the Tattva mantra instead of the Maha mantra because Chaitanya was chanting the Maha mantra and we are following his example.
Oh, very nice answer. Thank you so much. So we are not chanting the Panchatattva mantra instead of Hare Krishna Maha mantra because Chaitanya was chanting the Maha mantra. We are following his example. This is actually what we were speaking about, no? Chaitanya was.
Just wanted to add on what Prabhupada said.
Hare Krishna. Mm-hmm.
In India, probably some devotees, they before the Mahamantra, all rounds they chant Pranam mantra.
Yes, yes.
It's also good.
Yes, yes. This is very much, how to say, recommended by Srila Prabhupada actually in the purport.
Especially for the beginners, when they come in Krishna consciousness, they say you must do like because of offenses.
Yeah. He said, Srila Prabhupada says when you at the beginning you will make offenses when chanting Mahamantra, but by chanting Chaitanya's name before Mahamantra, your chanting will be offenseless or with less offenses, maybe we can say, no? Yeah, but anyway, it's some purification takes place immediately through that, which would not have taken place by Mahamantra at that point, maybe. But with Chaitanya's name, some immediate purification for anyone, that doesn't matter, offensive, inoffensive, beginner, not beginner, Sahajiya or whoever, will take place, this purification. And then you can chant better the Mahamantra, no? From a better level. Yeah. But the point we were making also is it might not be necessary to chant it before every round. Chant it at the beginning of your chanting, and then I chant it also at the end when I finish chanting. Chant it also. But at the beginning, when I heard this comment of Malati Mataji, at that time I was chanting in front of every round the Panchatattva Mahamantra. But then I gave it a try to chant not before every round, just at the beginning, and I liked it actually because then the flow of the Mahamantra is not interrupted. You get into some consistency while chanting. It is not interrupted by something else, and I liked it more actually as if chanting in front of every round.
As you said about this text, one Vaishnava bhajan also same, Gauranga bolite have punaka sarira.
Yeah.
Hari Hari bolite, man gobe nira.
Mm-hmm.
So if you speak Gaurang name, then your body will be like
the ecstasy symptoms. Yes. This is what the verse is saying. Just by uttering the names of Nitya Gaur or Chaitanya's name, one will develop ecstasy. It doesn't matter on which level one is situated. We can let's try a little bit to chant their names. We have still some time. Nitya Gaurango, Nitya Gaurango, Nitya Gaurango, Nitya Gaurango, Nitya Gaurango, Nitya Gaurango. Nitya Gauranga, Nitya Gauranga, Nitya Gauranga Jayo, Nitya Gauranga, Gora 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 Hari. Gora 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 Hari. Jaya Sachinandana, 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 Gora 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 Hari. Gora 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 Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gora 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 Hari. Hey Gora 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 Hari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Gora, Gora, Gora Hari. Jayo Gora, Gora, Gora Hari. Jayo Sachinandana, Jayo Sachinandana. Jayo Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. Jayo Nitai Gauranga, Jayo Nitai Gauranga. Jayo Nitai Gauranga, Jayo Nitai Gauranga. Jayo Nitai Gauranga, Jayo Nitai Gauranga. Vivo! Jayo Nitai Gauranga, Jayo Nitai Gauranga. Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gauranga. Vivo! Jayo Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gauranga. Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gauranga. Jayo Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gauranga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vivo. Thank you very much. I think it works. It works. So we can see, I mean, if one considers this, that just by uttering a name, a sound, practically, anybody will be influenced by some higher states of consciousness. Then we also understand that as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu appeared, and this principle came into power, that Kali Yuga had no chance anymore. No? Imagine this, just by sound, just when you hear a name, you get a change of heart, and this is for anybody. Doesn't matter which position, which offenses, which inclinations. If somebody hears the name of Nita Gora, what to speak of chanting them, there will be a change. There will be a, how to say, karmic course deviation, one can say. So Kali Yuga must go when they appear. It's not possible that Kali Yuga can survive in such condition. Doesn't make sense to you, because it is so powerful. It's so sublime. It can spread. It can spread more than a virus, faster than a virus, in a faster pace. Being subtler, sound. So this is what we are observing actually. That it is said that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, this was the end of Kali Yuga, but there was a preliminary period of transition, and which also must end at some point, and then the next age can manifest, the better one. But this is due to their mercy, due to their mercy. So it is great cause of celebration when they appear, because they actually deliver the world, they save the world from being destroyed practically, Yeah. And every time we hear their names, we should remember this fact. Wow, they have changed the course of this Kali Yuga development, and we may we may now, for that reason, be seated in a holy place in the middle of Western countries, and chant their names and experience joy, which is usually would not be there would be if we would be following our lives without this knowledge. And so this way one gets gratitude and ecstasy when one hears their names also. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, you wanted to? Hare Krishna.
And I think something is broken. First, that I feel something when I chant the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nikai. That only worked out that I knew. Before I knew what they did, I just heard the name, so there was nothing.
Yeah.
And after I got the knowledge of it, then it worked a bit. Because then I have something in mind to remember. And even for Chaitanya, it's like, because it's so full of like emotion. For me, it's so emotional. And then it works, I get this. But then I think something is broken, because the only name when I chant that I feel ecstasy is when I chant the name of Srimati Radharani. But the other names I know, but it does not get through the heart. But when I chant Radha, then it gets immediately, like, really, and I get goosebumps now.
Wow.
And I don't know why. And they all say this is wrong because I'm not that advanced devotee and this cannot be. But really, the only deity that does something to me is Srimati Radharani. All the others, I see them and I know Krishna, I know. But the only that gets here, and I know something's wrong.
I think in this regard, it is very good to consult somebody who is experienced in these matters. Then he can tell you what to do, like a spiritual master, somebody you trust. You put your faith in. You have to choose carefully. You have to observe the person, see, can you trust this person? Is it somebody who is in your frequency, so to say? No, it's because it cannot be anybody. It must be a person you are compatible with. Speaking of spiritual master, and then you can ask such a question. But usually, when you get such a distinct reaction in a certain way, usually it's good to follow that way. And but also knowing that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is half of the names are the names of Radha, and one can chant with this consciousness. One can even, okay, let's not go too far here. But it is very good to consult somebody who is experienced in these matters, and he can help you. Together with following your heart. It has to be there also. Because we have guidance in our heart, and this cannot be neglected completely. At some point, it is necessary to surrender to a person of higher knowledge, and who is beneficial for us, who is beneficially inclined to us. It's very important, no? It is explained when you seek guidance from somebody. This person has to be more advanced than you, and it has to be favorably inclined towards you. These are two things which need to be there, and then this way we make faster progress. Because when we are speaking of guidance in the heart, it is there, but one needs to get also purified enough to be able to perceive direct guidance from the heart. And as long as this is not the case, the Krishna, who is in the heart as Paramatma, he sends his external representative, spiritual master, to help us to establish a pure connection with Krishna in the heart. Otherwise, as long as this is not pure, this connection, we may get misguided by some impulses which we might get from inside. Yeah, but very, very good to ask advanced person about this, being so distinct, But if it would be me, I would be experimenting more into this direction, because it is significant what you say, significant symptom which comes about. Does it help? Okay, so I would suggest we end here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. All glories to the assembly. Hare Krishna.
I have one question off topic. Maybe from your child.
Could be. It looks like it.
Because yesterday we walked behind the guest house over the bridge and went to the walk, and I saw this on the ground, and I thought maybe I remember the child. Maybe it's from you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, probably. They are.
Because it's so small.
They are all over the place. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the practical example. It's very nice.